Chapter 1 Fortunate Favorites 3.5 months earlier. The Imperial Palace was the place to be tonight. Thousands of aristocrats and feudal overlords, dressed in the most elaborate and beautiful clothing money could buy, filtered into the building through its ornate entrance. The display of wealth and opulence involved at least one member of every spacefaring civilization in the galaxy. There were humanoids, mammalians, reptilians, avians, arthropods, molluscoids, fungoids, plantoids, necroids, aquatics, toxoids, droids, synthetics, and cyborgs. Half of the attendants were officers in the Imperial military, wearing ceremonial dress uniforms, resplendent with medals, ribbons, and other colorful decorations. The other half were spouses, loved ones, and loyal friends, dressed in beautiful outfits that only made their partners look better. A holographic display projected a white banner over the entrance to the Imperial Palace, one that explained exactly what was going on tonight. His Majesty the Galactic Emperor welcomes you to the 901st Annual Officers' Ball. Underneath this banner, a humanoid woman peered back at the main gate, looking for someone. She is an Alari, a human-like species with slender, elf-like features. Her homeworld, Alaria, is located in the Outer Rim, tens of thousands of light-years from here. The Alari woman was wearing an Imperial military officer's uniform, her bluish-purple hair tied back in a bun. Thanks to some carefully applied makeup, she looked older than her actual age. This is Cali Dakara, and she was waiting for someone. Cali took a deep breath, trying to hide how nervous she felt. She was terrified that her date was not going to appear, that she would be stood up at the most important social event in the galaxy, in full view of so many important people. Thankfully, Cali was spared the greatest humiliation. A very expensive-looking muscle car pulled up to the front gate, and the driver handed his keys over to the valet. Cali felt her whole body become warm and fluttery as a large Alari man approached her with a smile on his face. Commander Dak Jabasum was, like her, an Imperial officer. He was a combat veteran who had ventured into uncivilized space twice, fought pirates, and helped negotiate a peaceful resolution to a slave uprising on the planet Skildaria. For the past 6 months, Dak and Cali had been enjoying a romantic relationship. They were obsessed with each other and had to fight off the impulse to kiss passionately as soon as they met. "Wonderful, you made it," Dak said as soon as he reached Cali. "Are you ready for your first officer's ball?" Face red, heart thumping, Cali took Dak's hand and they entered the palace together. Cali felt as though she had crossed into a magical world. The Imperial Palace seemed so much bigger on the inside, with grand vaulted ceilings that were illuminated by chandeliers the size of trucks. Elaborate paintings, statues, and tapestries decorated every surface, while holographic artwork hovered in midair. Cali was particularly interested in the holographic art, as she could not see the projectors anywhere. "They must be concealed," she told Dak. "I heard about a new kind of holotech that can project through two-way mirrors. It was on Xenonian News." Dak squeezed her hand. "I knew you'd love this place," Dak said. "You've got to be the most tech-savvy woman I've ever met." "I love tech," Cali replied. "Almost as much as I love you." "So what you're saying is that I don't have enough implants?" Dak joked, eyebrow raised. "Or are you saying you want a few more of your own?" Cali giggled and held her hand in front of her mouth, trying to stop herself from breaking the decorum by laughing out loud. Both she and Dak were not true cyborgs, but each of them had enhanced cybernetic technology implanted into their bodies. "Stop," Cali giggled. "You're gonna drive me crazy." Cali and Dak held onto one another and followed the crowd of officers into the grand ballroom. An ornate staircase, decorated with gold trimming, led to another level of the palace. On the far end of the ballroom, an orchestra was providing music for the gathering. News reporters and their cameras were kept behind a velvet rope by security guards. The commander of the military band raised his voice for attention. "Officers, your eyes and ears, please," the commander called out. "The annual officers' ball will begin shortly. Please take your seats." Cali and Dak, holding hands the entire way, moved to one of the far walls. Military officers and their partners began to pair up and formed 4 lines. All of the women formed 2 lines, facing each other and leaving a 10-foot gap in between. Behind each line of women was a line of men, the male officers positioned directly behind their dancing partners. The officer corps of the Imperial military reflected the aristocratic nature of the Holy Favarian Empire. Officers were not promoted based on military merit or service records. Instead, wealthy members of the aristocracy would simply purchase a commission and be given a military rank reflecting how much money they poured into the Imperial military. This system ensured that those interested in maintaining the social and political status quo filled the officer class. In turn, the likelihood of a military revolt was reduced to 0. Cali felt a sense of excitement run up her spine as Dak positioned himself behind her. To Cali's left, a humanoid Kobarian was chatting with her dance partner, a reptilian Tzin. To her right, a pair of Blorg looked overjoyed just to be here. The band commander passed off his microphone to the Master of Ceremonies. "Esteemed officers, now announcing the arrival of our most honored guest," the MC declared. "His Imperial Majesty, Tukethu Eki Tekumet, Emperor of the Galaxy." The Galactic Emperor entered at the head of a grand procession. Surrounded by attendants and his family, the illustrious ruler strode into the ballroom. The front of his military uniform was so laden with medals that he seemed to be leaning forward unnaturally. Cali had seen plenty of Favarian people in her life. They were a nation of necroid cyborgs who embraced the wonders of modern technology to such a point that every member of Favarian society had cybernetic technology and neural implants surgically embedded into their bodies. The Galactic Emperor was no different. He was a necroid, meaning his body looked, and smelled, like a reanimated corpse. But the Galactic Emperor was just as much a machine as he was a man. Unlike Cali, Emperor Tukethu had 4 eyes, huge ears, and a very grotesque face that most Alari would consider hideous. Cali, Dak, and numerous other Alari in the ballroom did their best to keep their smiles frozen in place. Galactic Emperor Tukethu was a young man, only in his lower 30s. This was the first officers' ball he had ever attended, and for good reason. Just 9 months ago, Tukethu had ascended the throne to become the new Galactic Emperor in the wake of his father's death. Cali remembered the succession well. She was on the throne world when it happened. The celebrations had lasted for days, an endless party. The Emperor did something that was not expected. He started walking up and down the 2 lines of women. He enthusiastically greeted each woman in the crowd, regardless of her species and whether or not they were members of the military. Cali tensed up when she heard the flirtatious tone in his voice. "Wait, is this what I think it is?" Cali whispered, trying to direct her comment at Dak. Instead, the Blorg next to her replied, "Yes, my friend told me about this yesterday. The new emperor is, well, obsessed with women. I heard he's going to build a harem. He's nothing like his father. He's downright hedonistic." Cali felt a sense of revulsion building up. She started trying to figure out how to politely refuse Emperor Tukethu's advances, but this was not necessary. The Emperor picked an aquatic female out of the crowd and asked her to share the first dance with him. Cali breathed a sigh of relief as the officers' ball began in earnest. Music played, and the remaining soldiers took a few well-choreographed steps backward, clearing the floor for the Galactic Emperor and his dance partner. Cali and Dak politely watched the first dance and conversed quietly. "Okay, Dak," Cali said. "You're the classy officer here, and I'm a gearhead who can't get her mind out of the metaphorical workshop. Give me a crash course in Ike's politics. Talk as if I'm stupid, 'cause on this topic, I really am." Dak suppressed a laugh and positioned himself so that he could clearly speak into Cali's ear without drawing attention to himself. "So, that's Tukethu, the new Galactic Emperor. He's not alone tonight. See that general over there? That's his brother, Heket. Heket was the heir to the throne for decades, but then he got into an argument with his father. Emperor Akoth disinherited Heket, and that's how Tukethu got to take the celestial throne earlier this year." "Who's the woman on Heket's right?" Cali asked. "That's Kentrep, the angel princess." "I'm sorry, did you just say angel princess?" Cali repeated. "Stop trying to make me laugh. Everyone's gonna see." Cali wondered if Dak was pretending not to remember that Favarians were, in the eyes of Alari, hideous beyond all reason. No, I'm serious," Dak replied. "Princess Kentrep was the oldest of Akoth's children. She enjoys widespread popularity across the Empire. The people love her." "Why?" Cali asked. "Princess Kentrep created a charity organization," Dak explained. "She has given away most of her possessions and personal fortune, all in the name of lifting the people out of poverty and fighting disease. When Emperor Akoth passed away, everyone hoped and prayed that Kentrep would somehow outmaneuver her brothers and take the throne, but no such luck. Everyone knows the common people would be much happier if Kentrep ruled. That is why her brothers constantly seek to placate her." Cali watched as General Heket and Galactic Emperor Tukethu took a break from dancing to sit down with their sister at the high table. As soon as the Emperor stopped dancing, military officers and their partners took the floor. Cali and Dak stopped talking politics and joined the dance. Moving and swaying to the music from the orchestra, the couple enjoyed the moment, happy to lose themselves in the crowd of dancing officers. Their blissful moment was not to last. A voice pulled Cali and Dak back to reality. "Commander Jabassim! Just the Alari I was looking for!" Cali and Dak separated, raising their arms in salute as a fleet admiral accosted them. The admiral was a member of the insectoid Kel-Azak species, and Cali's translator implant had to work overtime to keep up with the conversation. "Please wait a moment," said the Kel-Azak admiral. "His Majesty would like a word." And before Cali knew what was happening, she was face to face with the Galactic Emperor. She forced her expression to freeze as Emperor Tukethu looked over her entire body with a greedy expression that made her shiver. Tukethu's lecherous gaze was made all the more horrific by his striking resemblance to a reanimated corpse. "Well, young woman, you have the best taste in men," Emperor Tukethu said. "I have heard many good things about Commander Jabassim tonight, and you as well. Is it true that you spent time living among the humans after they were relocated to their new planet?" "I spent 6 months on Arcadia, Your Majesty," Cali replied meekly. "I wanted to learn how the humans managed to rebuild their society on an alien planet. They are a fascinating people." "Impressive," the Galactic Emperor said. "Most impressive. And I'm sure they are grateful for Alaria's incredible generosity." The Admiral pointed at Dak. "This is him. This is the commander," the Admiral said. "He's the one from the battle against the Ether Drake. His starship flew circles around the dragon, struck the killing blow, and never took a speck of damage." "Yes, and I did it all with one hand tied behind me," Dak boasted. "Your Majesty, the Admiral oversells the story. I simply feared for the lives of my men, and I did everything that was necessary to save them." "You've impressed me, Commander," said the Emperor. "I want you on my ship." Excuse me?" Dak said. Consider this an order directly from the Celestial Throne, said the Galactic Emperor. You will report to Runa Starbase for duty aboard my personal flagship, the dreadnought Stellaris. Cali felt her mouth go dry. There was so much she wanted to say, but she held her tongue, as most of those things involved protesting against a reassignment that would separate her from Dak. Her lover seemed to have already thought of this, and he didn't move in a suave